Hello and welcome, as it is the 12th day of November 2020. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel where, like always, all bets, trades, and within that is within each's own risk and their own reward. Okay. Yesterday, I called this a tiny, cheesy couple, 3% gain, which was correct. And now it looks like things might really pick up moving forward here amongst the Bitcoin price chart. I'm going to show I'm going to show the XVS against Binance Coin, as well as talk about risk reward management a little bit more. It is literally job number one for me within this game, and it's a game of bankroll management, however you want to try to increase it. And doing such within cryptocurrencies, yeah, you can do that's a game. However you want to draw this trailer. I've been thinking about doing this. I think the best way of doing this is actually just get the data. And I've been waiting. I mean, I should be just years and years ago, I download like hourly data. And I can get it anytime I want. And I should just re-download it and just do some mathematical plays at some point. But as it goes, within the story of the market, you got this little up move in here, which then corrects through time. Then you have your up move, so next stage in the market. You have this little bit of correctionary play in here. And then this little bit of play in here is the next stage, which then we have this up move, which then corrected through all of this. And it looks like this is now done. And now we're just breaking out above this, and this thing is, I think, fly high sky ready. I don't know if that was a word. If it is, it's another one I created, like excitation and stuff like that, which is like yada yada kind of stuff. But whatever. On the shorter term time frame, the 1 hour chart, yes, I was like looking phenomenal, and 4 and 1 hour is just doing so again here. So with that being stated, yeah, I mean, obvious nice uptrends within the market. Resistance from this great move from this low one here, just so many periods up in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's an important number. 9, 10. That's just because I will be going to XVS in today's update number 8. That's the reason why. But we'll get to that in a bit. So then, from that point, in this correctionary move, it has a very decent size sell-off. But, I mean, you're always going to get them, and you always expect that when you have a good gain, you're going to high or low it. Okay, so that's almost, not going to say it's a gimme, but it's like expecting a 20-point football spread team to win a game. They pretty much always do. And therefore, you have a spot where it attempts to break out, but not able to do so here. But a great rally nonetheless, because how do you hold that first these sell-offs? And, well, in this case here, it had a phenomenal rally just to get to this point, and then attempt a breakout. So that in itself is pretty good. But the breakout failed. But I mean, I say this so many times in the videos that I see a failed breakout when they're kind of successful, meaning the attempt is successful, meaning correctionary phase, very well done. And then we start to see in here how we've been seeing strength amongst the 18 average of highs. And it really kind of still shows that, but it's doing so the last little bit with higher volatility. And even in such, when you look at just understanding period by period, like just what the last 2, 3 means. Even the last 2, I forget everything before here. Just look at just what we got now in this. We see some very good volatility. It did come up to this price in the previous period and sell off at least down to here. And it could maybe even down to this point. So it's been able to have this move and rebound pretty much almost all of it, which we're going to see on the shorter term time frames. And again, I mentioned already the 1 hour chart is looking phenomenal, but as it goes, to me, the setup of a breakout looks very highly probable. With this move up here, the multiple resistance test, it's now just barely breaking it. It's just an attempt statement. It's the status of the market is announcement of attempt and breakout of resistance. And where do we go on breakout of resistance will be one of the next questions too. But before we do that, that'll be more longer term analysis. Let's take a look at this on the single hour term time frame, because this is where, to me, it looks phenomenal. As yesterday I was stating somewhere in here, or I guess in here, that I was going to go up to we were going to test between here and here. And that's exactly what it's done. So within that test, we've had this correct within the 18, including this little nice beautiful thing where it got below it, but it didn't. It went right back and spent many periods just going on the 18 lows and such. And then 4 a.m. Eastern time into 5 o'clock stamp, it comes up and establishes this high. And really, this is high is not seen since, well, I don't know the date. I'm going to find it soon, though, when we go to the more longer-term time frame. Because when is the last time we've seen the market above 16,000? The high right now is 16,177 within the intraday. But it's had the sell-off. It held, and you can say this area, I mean, it supported it all. Now we've seen the previous hour where it closed, before here it closed at the 18 average of highs, and then it exceeded its move and really had no action below it. 29 minutes, 54 seconds left in the period, so it's at the halfway point here. And it's holding and staying this move relatively well. To me, this thing looks poised very soon, even. When I say soon, like within this week, moving into the next week, that this thing can be set for a fantastic gain. So when's the last time we've seen this above 16,000? And before that, I remember before, but holding and staying above, or just above 15,000. How many days in a row are we at that now? What was the low here? 15,092. And below that, so let's smell whatever, just 2 days in a row. This will be day number 3. But the last day we seen 16,000 because we're breaking above this resistance from 2019, and what a run that was. It's above that resistance. We have to go all the way back to just a short period of time, because 16,000, it would have left it for the last time on January the 8th, 2018, a high of 16,300, a low of 13,009, and we'll close it at 15K. But the next day and every other day further up until today, it has stayed below 16,000. It reached 16,000 for the very first time on December the 7th. So it was only a month, ever. From like the first, starting the second week of December 2017 to starting the second week of January 2018, did we see the price action above 60,000. Even some of those days it never did, because on we can see on December 23rd, December 24th, the 25th, that it was below it. Also December 30th, 31st, New Year's Day, January 1st, and then January 2nd, and even the 4th and the 3rd as well. So only a few of those days was above 16,000 as well. But a key point, again, is we're just back to this key high area. And that's very common to have these areas where you only spend a little bit of time there. Just like we go, when I talk about silver, the whole $50 first time area, well, it was there for like just like a month or so, or a few days, just a short period of time. And so to me, it looks like we're ready to test this level. And as I've been stating for a while, short term, not maybe not as much, although we'll wait and see. I think this is going to be weak resistance, as I like to call it. Weak is not that good of a chance of doing what I would expect strong resistance to do. And strong resistance is when it is a big level. Like this would be strong resistance because it had a big sell-off. And to me, a big sell-off would be anything that is like bringing it back to like, even back to like 12,000 where we came from. I mean, that's like, that might be the best you get. I don't know if you can get that. And my view is that it's going to, in time, and it might be soon, it might be later, because we could have decent resistance and even have like, okay, good resistance, but in that maybe it comes back down to just that, or maybe 13, 14,000, maybe corrects through time for 6, 8 months, 9 months. But that's not going to do well in getting a great buyback if you're going to look to sell at that area, which is maybe what you'd be thinking, oh, big resistance, time to sell and stuff like that. Even on a bullish level, you're like, okay, well, and here, like if you were selling in this point in here, you had all of this great buyback opportunity. If you were selling in here, well, all you got back was in here. And if you sold like at 2,200, you haven't had an opportunity to get the cheaper price, because that's just going to happen at times. So that's one of the risks always when you try to sell the market. You come up, oh, we're going to sell. It's not going to go. It's I mean, yeah, Bitcoin's going to go up, but I'm going to get a better price. So you sell here, and then I'm going to buy back at like 12,000 or 13 or whatever. Okay, good luck to you. And it just doesn't happen. But a lot of times, sometimes you can be like, okay, I'm going to sell here, and then you got it. And then what happens if you want to sell here? Then you have to decide back at this point here. Oh, do I want to buy back where I sold before at the same price? Just different things that could be worth consideration. Now, as far as these longer term time frames is concerned, this has been in a phenomenal uprun for quite some time. And amongst the situation and the move is just magnificent. From this in here, you're going from under, we'll basically call it 200 to 20,000, or 100x move. And I mean, these corrections looked very small, and in this time frame, they are just that. And even this here isn't all that much here than what we've had. But when you look at it within the days, when you're in those days, that means you're seeing correction or area moves that within the time you'd see, okay, back in 2017 here, Bitcoin went from a high of 1350, and then it went all the way down to a little under 9. So it lost like over 35%, 40%. In this move here, we had it go from a high of 778, close to the slot machine number of 777, and a low of 465. So a differential of like, 277, because that's what he said. I usually remember in my head. 777, and it's actually 778, but whatever. 277 is a little over 300 points. That was a correctionary move again of like 40%. And within it, there's a lot of market opportunities to just trade within those numbers in itself. And I almost got to think that a lot of the same things are going to be happening, and that what would be a very good run, break the resistance and start to play with the new numbers like it did before when it broke the 1200-ish or 1100 number. Oh, went 1100 to 2000, and then 3000, 5, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30. No, not to 30, up to 20. But now you're at a stage where buying and selling Bitcoin at 15,878. Compare that today at this moment now versus early December. I mean, early December, this market was overly extended at the time. This thing broke out above the 18 average just a few periods ago. And the green candle size is, okay, 13% on the breakout. Then the one after that was just at 5. But hey, 5. And then we have a 12.5% the previous week. And right now, this week, we're up 2.6. When you look at all these weeks in here, I mean, you just see how it's leaving the 18 average from the correctionary phase at this point. Look at the times here when it was leaving the 18 average from correctionary phases before. It was still declining, trying to break it. Okay, so here's spots on some early breakout stages here. You have the first one here around 400. Then again, you break out. And then you could have been saying before, okay, look at buying here on May of 2016 compared to buying here. Almost the exact same situation. And then when you go back to the spot, okay, what kind of resistance do we get at this 1,000? There wasn't much. Oh, we were there before. I'm going to look to buy back this at 650. No, you didn't do it. Didn't happen. So a lot of risk can be involved in thinking, okay, we're going to be at this point. It's time to have that sell. My mind tells me, this is what my brain tells me for investing. And this is what I go with. So whatever you do, heck, up to you. I believe that silver, and pretty much gold as well, is the quote-unquote guaranteed asset class moving forward. Where fiat currencies, well, this is the whole reason I'm talking about gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies, is because I've been bearish on such for well over a decade now. And thus, I don't want those pepper rectangles for like 5-10 years. Now, cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, that thing's gonna be very, very good. And a lot of the altcoins like Theta, Bitcoin Cash, I'm extremely bullish on. Maybe not 100% confident, but pretty damn near closer to 100 than 50, let alone 0%. But with Bitcoin, I look at this as in, I think it's going to have another leg higher. What we do at that level, because so many times I have like, okay, now what situation? When you get to a level of where you should have a big level of resistance support, big Fibonacci points. And an example of such is, like, for example, like you come to these key Fibonacci points, how are you going to react to it? In this case, not as well. At least for the short term. And in this case, how did it react to it? Very, very well. How is it going to react to the key situations like 81, 120, 140, 160? I don't know. But for now, I do believe there's a very high chance, very close to 100%, I feel, that destination is going to occur. The journey to get there, we get up to this here, maybe we do pull back, and heck, maybe we have a retest of like 6,000 to do it again. So unlikely, but still possible. Or maybe it only comes back down to here, and maybe we see 20,000 again, or even for the first time for that matter, because I think it was like 19,000 high change, at least 19,800 or something. 19,666. Okay, so 19,600. So yeah, I guess the 20,000 pretty much for a retest, but it could be like 5 days later or 5 weeks later, we're at 24,000. Those are definite possible situations that can come into play. On the monthly term, this thing is just breaking out from the 18 average of highs. And that's just and this is why I'm looking at this as weak resistance. This is like, okay, we come up to this, even to the 18 average of highs where we resisted in May. We attempt to break out above it. I mean, we did, of course, on July. A couple of months of just hanging in there, showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs on a really, really long time frame, long-term time frame. That is just sickly amazing. And now it's attempting to break out with continuation so far here on the 12th day of November for this month. Okay, strong setup to me. That's how I'm looking at this. And we establish this high, key low. We establish this high, key low. So we break this high, and the next job is to establish a new key high. So then, let's now move into some alts. Generally speaking, when these Bitcoin prices have been going up, these alts will go down. Bitcoin's only up 1.5 now. Dash, it was up like 10% yesterday. I would like to see this thing break out nice. All of these things I like to see break out, of course. But here's a spot where XVS, okay, wrong one. It's interesting, 4.9% on both sides, but looking at this one here. But a lot of these go down when Bitcoin goes up, and then what's going to happen is Bitcoin's going to stop going up and either go down or sideways, and then the altcoins will have some nice up moves, at least in retracement format. I think that's going to stay the case until it breaks the 20K, just like it was before, because back with Bitcoin when it was on its way up back to that 1,200 level, altcoins were getting their asses kicked. And then when it broke that 1,200, like March of 2017, oh my goodness, altcoins kicked ass. So we'll see if any of the similar type of situations happen again. This will be 8 days in a row on XVS if this thing goes up. I got in this thing for the first time. This is not the price. It's Bitcoin, that's right. I mean, this isn't the price because I'm not sure. I'm trading against. This is better. Yeah, this is the one I'm used to because I've been trading as Binance Coin. BNB is a coin I like to have anyway, so I figured, what, just play back and forth. And this has been an interim trade. I still don't know what I'm going to do with this when it's all said and done, but I know I'm doing with it now because it's always about risk-reward management, always job number one. What am I going to do if this situation happens and if that situation happens? And, well, what are those situations? Let's go over it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 days up in a row. I got into this like right off the bat, like day number 1, 2 kind of deal. 11.98 was my buy price. So I'm pretty much right where I started. Tipping them up. I actually have less than I started with now because I've been aggressively selling this rally. And not, as you can see, because of the way it's been playing. It's a nice stress setup more than anything, which is earlier the last few hours maybe adjust my sell orders a little bit. What do these line means? That's where my buy and sell orders are. So I had my sell order before at like just like 12 high change, like 12.90, something like Jesus. If it goes there, it's just going to hit a little higher. I'm just going to at least go to where I put my line in at 13.39. And that's just for my next sell area. But a lot of it is, okay, I'm going to try the strategy. If I run out or get close to running out, by the way I'm playing this on the buy and sellers, that's going to happen. But that's what I kind of like to see in a situation where we just get some good up and down swings back and forth, because that's what these markets are pretty much designed to do for the most part. This, of course, being the buy level. And on the single hour term time frame overall, I mean, this setup's been looking just fantastic all the way through. There's a spot where, oh, it's going to go down, and yeah, I wish it would have myself here, but it didn't. Of course, I wish that because my buy order was waiting the whole time there. And I was watching it waiting. It didn't happen. Oftentimes from failed moves can bring fast moves in the opposite direction. So be it. So we have this thing attempting to break out in here. We still have the 18 average, which is kind of rising, so we'll see how it goes. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so many periods in here. Gets up to the 18 average of highs, now back down to the lows until you have a clear break within this. Really well within the support here. It's established at 1170 handle and all that stuff. But hey, you know what? This is looking pretty interesting. So my strategy is, okay, well, I got a seller at 1339. Then I got like 3 more higher than that. My highest one is up to like in here. And just in case it's... But I would like to see me sell quite a bit of this off and then buy a bit of it back and a lot of it back and just see how much I can get playing this at a hyper aggressive level. For when this thing was making all of these moves in here, it was getting a lot of buys. I had a lot of these coins on November the 4th because it hit lows, the lowest levels that it was. And then, I mean, you get some of these sell here. I mean, this got up to like 1100 handle, we'll call it, down to the 900 handle. So I'm just taking advantage of the small moves, but it's very difficult to take advantages of moves where the handle goes from 1096 to 1018. I just can't do it. So there hasn't been as much, of course, in being able to get for the trades. Because in here I got like 12, I pretty much got this high. And then I did not get this low. So therefore I haven't traded since November the 11th of this time handle. I think I hit the 12. I think I got the 1279 number. I think I did hit it. I mean, as if it means too much because I'm selling every like whatever basis points as it is anyway. But it means at 1100 I got buy orders all the way below that as well. And one more part about risk reward management. This is more for things like poker, fantasy. I've been into the whole fantasy sports. And you have like bet strategies, like how will I play my bankroll if I'm at a particular number at a particular point? Let's just assume, like again, and I can even find a way of doing this when you're day trading too, like how much you get into position sizes, because this is really what this is all about. So say you have a bankroll of say $5,000. I mean, it's all perspective. Everyone's got higher, smaller numbers. I've played with bankrolls, fun with everywhere from 2 to 5 figures. Even 1 figure for that matter. Because I was zero. I mean, I've worked with bankrolls at nothing. Although I haven't had as great a success rates on the zero number. I'm trying to think if I've even turned zero into, well, the most I've ever turned zero into, and I turned zero into 800 and not hold it once. So I'm trying to think of a time where I don't think I ever have. I mean, dollars many times and 2 figures, so I don't, and 3 figures, so I can't count. But let's just back to the whole point. Let's just assume you're at $5,000. You got risk reward management. See, everyone talks about risk management, but they never say the reward part, and it is a double-edged sword. And maybe because the law of polarity is my favorite universal law, but whatever on that again. Let's just assume you're placing some bets, and you're like, okay, if risk side, where should my bankroll go? Reward side, where should it go? So risk, say things get bad. I got like 750 in bets from 5,000. Now my bankroll is down to 4,250. Okay, well I bet 750 to get there. Am I going to bet 750 again on the next set? Maybe I bring that number down to 675 or 650, based on the exact same spot situation. Why did I bet 750 or 15% in the first place? Was there a good spot? What is my normal allocation that I put up in a given situation? All those things very important. And then if you win, okay, my bankroll goes up. The 750 bet got me to say $6,000 or $7,000. How would I play that spot at? I'll give you a situation for me right now. Right now, I'm watching Lewis Oosthuizen Ostenstein, I think. He's a golfer. I don't know as much about golf, hence the reason I couldn't pronounce his name. In an earlier video, I did one about Hideki Matsuyama. I just don't know these guys as well, but I know how to research and I know how to risk reward manage my bets. And for me, my bankroll is a 4-figure bankroll, but it really doesn't mean much because it's always about withdrawing when you need to, and I kind of do that type of stuff, as that's what you need to do in the business. So if I'm dealing with the bankroll of like, well, I'm on 1,500 one, but yet I got more than that because, well, I've been winning here and there, so it's up to like 17 or so, and I got this. That's already not. Well, plus on top of that, I got like $300 on the Masters right now on 11 daily fantasy lineups, which I used information from so many different gurus. Thank you so much for Pat Mayo, which of course I was able to thank him on the show and he within my name, and he got to read it out on the show. Pretty cool. So if you watch the last Pat Mayo show, it's like a 2-hour show, and there's a section for like viewer feedback. Near the end of it, he gives me and he gives hundreds of people. He gives me a shout out. No, he mentions my name and reads my comment that I read. When I thanked him for, because what happened was back in 2016, him and Jeffrey Freeberg, I think it is one of his like a few guys he has on the show mentioned, hey, I like this Danny Willard pick at 125 to 1 to win. 2016 Masters. This was the day after the NBA All-Star game. And then, okay, so there we have it. He's saying, it's like, I don't know what he quoted, but I got 125 to 1. I wish I would have bet more than I did, but hey, I bet enough. And it didn't matter to me what happened. I was like, man, thank you guys, because on tee-off, he was like 40 or something to 1. I was watching it right off the bat, like a week or two later, it was already down like 80 to 1. And I kept watching go down like 80, 70, 60, 50. I was like, oh my goodness. It's like, thank you just for, because I'm thinking like stock market, like what a call. You nailed it. Like win or lose, you nailed what was a long-term good play. This has much better than a 1% chance of occurrence. Yet I'm getting more than 100 to 1 to win. Risk reward management. Okay. That's always, I don't know why I said that there because that's not what I meant to say. It's always about like, well, yes, it is like how much do you bet on it? I mean, I could have bet double, triple, quad what I did, so I bet really low, but enough where I still got a good 3-figure score back, but I could have got a 4-figure score back. And he won, but it worked out like after day like 1, 2, 3. It was I was like, oh, he's live to win. And then next thing you know, on day 4, Jordan Spieth, the defending champion, which I did pretty good the year before with my daily fantasy because that was who I played with, Jordan Spieth in my only lineup. That did pretty well. But I'm watching. I mean, it was like, yeah, he doesn't got much. Jordan Spieth's going to take it, I'm thinking. I mean, he's got a chance. He's in it. But, I mean, it's like, it's not something I'd like. I can't remember what his opening odds were on the day of day 4. But I'm like watching my television. I'm like, oh yeah, golf. So I put on like one of those channels that has a ticker on it. And then I look and it says Willett, first place, like hole 17 or 18 or something. Like, what's going on here? This is fantastic. It was just magnificent. And then over the last few weeks, I've been watching his shows and going with a lot of the information that he's had. And how I bet is, I bet the small games. A lot of it is for reward purposes, for getting bonus bucks back as well, as I like to call it. And to spam lineups is one of the easiest ways of doing it. But what I like to do is win satellites. It's kind of fun, and I got like 20 of them right now. I got like 20 NFL $20 games. So cool. And I end up getting 11 of these fantasy ones for the things here. But what I would do is I'd apply fantasy for like fantasy golf, fantasy football, even European basketball, whatever I can find that I'll apply. And over the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks ago, I works up to like $30 in bets, just hitting 10-cent games. Last week, I won like 15, 20 bucks back, net maybe. I won like one ticket and a bunch of cash. But 2 weeks before that, I won like 3 different $20 tickets. I think another smaller one. And like $30, $40 in cash on like $30 bets. It was like so cool. So a lot of those tickets, again, being used now, being used in football. And in this game here, I added a whole bunch of other tickets, satellite tickets again, only for mainly the NASCAR and a couple other ones. And just a whole bunch of 10-cent games, trying to get reward dollars, trying to get a big cash. And, well, I could end up winning up to $1 million, of course. Uncle Sam, he's going to take some. But whatever I do on a good win, it's going to be a withdrawal. And then one of my fun things is on wins is parlaying them in fun ways. So say if I can bring my bankroll up to like 2,500, 3,000 I was at 1,500 because I get an extreme win. I can be like, okay, I get my bank up to 3,000, withdraw everything down to 3,000. And then I'm going to have some fun down to 25 or 24, meaning I can speculate any way I want. Of course, I'm going to do what's good risk reward, but I'm going to calm myself down if it gets to 2,400. So those are the type of things that I like to do as well. And then for football, and even for this weekend, I mean, it's going to be a lot harder now with the rain going on because a lot of it's been delayed. If I notice that after Friday into Saturday that I'm doing really well with my fantasy golf, then I might up my stakes for fantasy football this weekend. And if I'm getting my ass kicked, then I'm just going to, just keep the pace going as I am for that. Because it's going to be the same thing with football on Sunday, that there's going to be a lot of big stakes on board. I'm going to at least have 4 $20 Millionaire Maker lineups and a whole bunch of other games. I mean, it's crazy games. The reason why I have 20 tickets in football and have a couple NASCAR tickets next year for opening race and all these other ones is because I keep playing those satellites. And I win them more than the value ticket cost. Meaning, I got 20, say I win $20 tickets for $400. What did I spend to get it? Like $250, $300? And that's been very, very common for me because even without hockey season, I'm still winning. But the seasons are dwindling down. And football is not an everyday occurrence. But that means up until the calendar year ends, there is no hockey. They are planning, as in the National Hockey League, Gary Bettman and such, to fully go ahead and start the season on January 1st. Which means at that point, there will be less attentive time towards this channel like there was back in August and July. And even for that matter, like January, February, March, and all those other times. Because, well, quite frankly, I was busy with fantasy hockey. And I literally managed to make a common year is 1 year income just playing fantasy hockey this year. And even just most of it pretty much all in July and August. And I knew the playoffs would be much greater. So I plan on doing the same thing again. But until then, what do we got for November, December? The NBA season starts mid-December, but what does that mean for me? I don't know how to win that game. So I can participate. That's a little bit of time. But the only time that I have that I would allocate, I don't know what I'm going to do for, is try to figure out how to win the game. And I might do that because, quite frankly, I look back at what I did win this season. I mean, I could have won more. Maybe I should have. I don't know. Maybe I did have one 5-figure score, albeit it was 10,000 on itself. One thing Pat Mayo did mention what his biggest win was in fantasy was 25,000. So at least I can try to beat that. My biggest win is 10,000 right now. And that was a portion, of course, what is a decent 1 year's income, a decent 5-figure number. I think I could do that again. But it's all about ensuring that when the season comes into play, that I have a very good bankroll to work with. And it's pretty easy for me because I know how to play the reward system. In the month of December, they're going to give me over $500 just for playing in reward dollars. Okay, thank you. Alrighty then. So that's 34 minutes. Wow. Thank you for tuning in. And pretty much got everything I wanted to talk about. What's Bitcoin still near 16? Yeah. What's gold and silver doing? It was pretty much doing nothing earlier today. Oh, a little bit of an uptick, but not much. 0.7 Canadian dollar on the silver side. Gold's overperforming it. That's interesting. Let's just take a quick look at it. Oh, interesting. It's just holding well within the 18 average of highs here. I mean, that's just luck. The support's doing what it's doing. Not really, but really. I really need to see this get up to like 24 and 4/9 for me to, okay, this thing could get going. But at the same point, this thing really needs to really get down to low 24 for me to start to think that this thing could start to retrace lower. And most certainly, if I see this coming down to 24 even or breaking 24, I'm going to be thinking, yeah, I mean, be good luck at 23.61. We're probably coming down to 23.25. Those are the types of things I think. And then breaking this, if it gets out of here, we're talking about retracement mode from the low to this high of 26. Gold seems to be 0.76 on this on the hourly term time frame. Yeah, it's an attempt. This is a statement. I mean, it's a nice little pattern that it's been playing amongst here, but I mean, you see how this last rally attempt got rejected pretty instantly. It's still flirting with the 18 average of lows. So to me, this time frame here, I'm not too bullish on the daily chart here for any type of short-term moves. Granted, I hope it goes up because I have no buy plans in the near term unless cryptocurrencies go fly high sky. Which yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't mind that happening where we see like cryptos go way up and this goes down at the same time. So I suppose it could work out. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.